So who are we?
California's future leaders.
That's right. Welcome to the California State Assembly floor. My name is Eric Guerra, and I have the privilege of introducing to somebody to you who's been a leader for Latinos here in the Capitol and a leader for all of us in government and public service. It's my pleasure in the back of the chambers to welcome to the podium here the Sarah Ramirez. She's the Chief of Staff for Assembly Speaker John A. Perez. The Chief of Staff, Sarah Ramirez, is a senior staff member here and is responsible for policy and administration for the State Assembly. Ms. Ramirez has over 25 years of public service in the legislature and in government functions overall. Ms. Ramirez has also served in the office of other speakers, Speaker Willie Brown, and in the Office of Governmental Affairs for the California State University system, much of which you all experienced this week at California State University, Sacramento. As a graduate of San Diego State University, Ms. Ramirez is the first Latina to ever serve as Chief of Staff to Speaker of the Assembly, John A. Perez, here at the California State Assembly. So please, future leaders of California, stand up and give a warm welcome to our Chief of Staff of the California State Assembly, Sarah Ramirez.
Thank you. Good to see you. Well, I've never spoken from way up here. Welcome. Welcome to all of you. You are a very privileged group of children that are here. I want you to pat yourselves on the back. It takes a lot to take time out of summer to do a program as intense as this. But you're very fortunate to be here. I'm very fortunate to be here. I have been blessed for many, many years. I started in this building in 1983. I don't think any of you were around in 1983, but I was right out of college, and I was working at a restaurant for my father, working nights. And I was tired that I was just getting to work when everyone was getting off of work. So I applied here, and I started as a receptionist here in the building. So what does that tell you? I'll tell you what it tells you. Be nice to the front person, the person answering the phone, the first person, the receptionist. You think, oh, the receptionist. Guess what? You never know where that receptionist is going to end up. Because here I am, who would have thunk, as they say, that I would end up as a Chief of Staff to the Speaker of the California State Assembly. So, you need to know, thank you. You need to know more than ever. Si se puede. We hear that, we say it all the time. But it's true. Both my parents migrated from Mexico. My father had 3 jobs, 3 daughters to take care of all of us, right? I was the first one to go to college. My sister went to I shouldn't say I was the first one. She did go to college too. She went to a Bible college. She works at the Department of Education. But your education is very important. It's not always everything you know, people you know too, but remember the people you know can get you into the positions, but you have to keep yourself in those positions and you have to work hard. And it's not always the smartest person, that straight A person. You have to have a team mentality and a personality to get along with everybody, especially in a building like this. Let me tell you, there are no secrets in this building. We hear who has fits and who gets along with who and who doesn't get along with who, and who you want to work with and who you don't. So remember, it's, you know, you didn't have to be that straight A student. I'll be honest, I wasn't that straight A student. But I did work very hard when I came to this building. 5 o'clock rolled around, I didn't leave unless my work was done. And trust me, I'm not into staying to make the boss think, oh wow, you're here. It's just a matter of getting your work done. Now, if you're a fast worker and you get your work done, go home, by all means. But I want you to know, more than anything, that it can happen for anyone, that you are here And you have the right and the decisions. You have to make the right decisions for your future. And you have a wonderful future ahead of you, but you have to make those right decisions. Sometimes we have to put things off. We have to put maybe college off for a while to help our families. We've gone through that. But always get back on that track. Don't be disillusioned if you have to take time out on something like that. Remember, you have a right to be who you want to be. Your dreams can come true, but you have to work very hard to make them come true. Be nice to the girl at the front desk, because she can become somebody too, and she can help you. I have staff that know way more than I do, trust me. They make me look good. I am very fortunate to have assistants and staff that bring me right to this place to do a good job. You can do it too. I hope you have a wonderful time in Sacramento. Are there any Sacramentans here? All right, Sacramento. I used to call it Stuckto because I was stuck in Sacramento. So I went away to school. I went to San Diego State thinking I wasn't going to stay in Sacramento. And here I am. I've lived my whole life now in Sacramento. And I'll tell you what, it's a great place to live. I hope all of you find your dreams. I hope you find wonderful mentors. I had wonderful people to help me in this building. Our chief clerk, Dotson Wilson, because of your boss, because of Dotson, I moved out of the secretarial position. He gave me an opportunity. He gave me an opportunity to move into the legislative position. Now, he was, gambling on me to be a good worker, and I hope I've proven him right. I've worked very, very hard. Trust me, I didn't know what I was doing when I first started, but I asked a lot of questions. I was honest and said, I don't know, let me try and find out. But there were lots of people that wanted to help. And I am where I am today because lots of people helped me. And I hope you have the same opportunity to not be afraid to reach out, not be afraid to not have all the answers, not be afraid if you're not the A student, but work hard because you can do it. I'm proof of that. So I hope that I have inspired you to want to work hard and to follow your dream, whatever it might be, because you can do it. And there are lots of people that want to help you. I hope you have a fun time. You do get to have fun on this trip, don't you? You do? Okay, well, have a wonderful time. I hope that I have the opportunity to meet you all again when you're out of college or when you run for office. Who knows? I hope I win the lottery by then, but you guys could be back here and be one of the elected officials. It could happen. So I wish you well. Thank you for the opportunity to address you. Be kind to each other. Be good to each other. Be good to your mentors. They can help you too. We all want you to be successful. Si se puede. I wish you well.
Thank you, Sarah Ramirez. And please, let's all give her one more round of applause here for her great work. As our speaker gets ready here, I just want to take a few moments to give you a sense of the position you're in today. This is an extraordinary opportunity for you guys. This is a day where you guys, where all of you today become part of California's history. You become part of the experience on the assembly floor of this state. If walls could talk, they could give us an impressive history of everything that's happened in California. So many decisions that have changed our state have happened on this floor, in those seats, on this carpet, in these walls. If walls could talk, they would tell us how we created the best universities in the nation, and in fact in the world, the largest systems in the world. They would tell you how many opportunities were provided. But if walls could talk, they would also tell you the challenges of diversity that we faced over the state, of the discrimination that have happened. But if walls could talk, they could also see about the future that presents California with all of you sitting here today. So with that, please take that into account by respecting every part of the floor here today, the chairs, the microphones. Please respect the fact that this is part of the People's Building, the state capital of California. And with that, we'll bring our speaker here in one moment. So prepare yourselves. Assembly members, please, I'm sure all of you are excited to try to get this legislation on the road here. So take the time to review your notes, and we'll be beginning in one moment. It gives me great pleasure to introduce the 2011 CLYLP Speaker of the Assembly, Christian Garcia. Please give him a round of applause.
House will be in session. Assemblymember Isaac, notice the absence of a quorum. Will the sergeants please prepare the chambers and bring in the absent members? Clerk will call the roll. A quorum is present. We ask our guests and visitors in the gallery and in the rear of the chambers to stand and join the members of the Assembly in the flag salute. The pledge today will be led by Assemblymember Isaac. Messages from the Governor. There are none. Messages from the Senate. There are none. Motions and resolutions. There are no excused absences for the day. Businesses of the daily file. Item number 1. Ms. Magallanes, are you prepared to take up this item? Item AB9, bullying in schools. Clerk will read.
Senate Bill 48 by Senator Leno, an act relating to school curriculum.
Speaker.
So who's the... Okay.
Author,
Right now?
Miss Jessica Ortega, are you may open on this measure.
Senate Bill 48. Mr. Speaker and members, Assembly members, I am honored to present Senate Bill 48, also known as the Fair, Accurate, and Inclusive and Respectful Act. The Act ensures that LGBT Americans are included and recognized for their important historical contributions to the economic, political, and social development of California. The bill is important because it dispels fears and misconceptions of the LGBT community. This is important because Dispelling these fears and misconceptions can lead to the end of events happening like the death of Harvey Milk, the mayor of San Francisco that was murdered for being openly gay. He was also one of the first openly gay politicians. This bill is also important because it ensures that merits are always remembered and acknowledged, because history not told is in itself oppressive. So thank you, and I respectfully ask for your aid on the vote on this important measure.
Is there any further debate or discussion? You may speak. You may speak.
Okay. Mr. Speaker, I am rising in opposition to this bill for the following reasons. My first reason is that if the goal of this bill is equality, this doesn't solve that. It actually does the opposite by differentiating people and isolating them, by defining them only with the identity that is presented rather than their accomplishments and who they truly are as a person. Also, some people's religious values conflict with the bill SB 48 and the LGBT community, and this would cause problems in education that would also conflict with federal laws and personal beliefs. Therefore, this should be decided by the State Board of Education, since they are experts in education, not by the legislature. Therefore, I respectfully ask for no vote. Thank you.
Is there any further debate or discussion? Assembly member, you are recognized.
Mr. Speaker and members, I rise in support of SB 48 because with the passing of this bill, people of all races, people with disabilities, and LGBTs will be recognized of their accomplishments in history, and students will be taught their culture and history. The Constitution states that all people are created equally, yet in our current times in society, this is not true. SB 48 must be passed to recognize these people and to end discrimination with the education of their accomplishments and culture to the future leaders of California. So please, vote aye for SB 48.
Is there any further debate or discussion? Assembly member, you are recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I rise in opposition to SB 48. I believe this bill is taking away parental control, and this can cause teenagers to rebel against their parents. Parents are liable for a child, not the government. The cost will also be a problem. The state is already cutting back in schools, and this can cost too much. We are in a recession, and we cannot keep taking money from school funds. Like mentioned before, the State Board of Education should take care of this, not the legislative. If we let the government pass this bill, this is another way for politics to capitalize what they believe in. For these reasons, I respectfully ask for a no vote.
Is there any further debate or discussion? Minority Leader, you are recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I rise in opposition of SB 48. This bill inserts the sexual orientation of historical figures into history books where it simply does not belong. As a state, the passage rates of students on math and English exams is far beneath that of the rest of the nation. And quite frankly, where we need to be as a state. We need to focus on mastering the basics, not adding miscellaneous items to the education system. I respectfully request a no vote.
Seeing and hearing, is there any further debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing none, Miss Jessica Ortega, you may close. Mr. George Montenegro, you may close.
Thank you, Speaker and Assembly members. This bill is important because this bill will lower bullying in our schools against the LGBT community and other communities. The saving lives of people is far greater than the cost of any textbook, especially a cost that's non-existing, because we already update our textbooks regularly, and our textbooks need to be updated. You talk about we need higher scores in history, well, updating our textbooks would do so. So I respectfully ask for yes on this important matter, and that will be all.
All debate having ceased, the clerk will open the roll. All in favor, say aye.
No, pass the green. Pass the green.
All in favor, pass the green.
And all opposed, pass the pink slip.
All opposed, pass the pink slips.
Repeat it again so people.
All in favor, pass the green slips. All opposed, pass the pink slips. All in favor, pass the green. All opposed, pass the pink. Assembly members, while you are all voting, please prepare for the next agenda. All members vote who desire to vote. 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 Clerk has closed the roll and the tally of the vote. Ayes 55, noes 51. The measure passes. Item number 2, SB 105. Raul Garcia, are you prepared to take up this item?
Yes.
Assembly member, clerk will read.
Senate Bill 105, an act relating to helmets requirements for minors.
Mr. Raul Garcia, you may open on the measure.
Mr. Speaker and members, I am honored to present SB 105, which mandates that anyone under the age of 18 must wear a properly fitted snow sport helmet that meets requirements when utilizing snow skis or a snowboard. The bill also fines all violators $25. Studies show that kids who have been wearing helmets are more likely to wear helmets as adults, leading to safety in the future. Moreover, enactment of this bill will decrease the number of serious injuries, thereby reducing healthcare premiums for everyone. This bill is important to me because a boy from my district recently died from severe head trauma due to an accident when he was not wearing a helmet. I believe this bill can inspire a safer future and ensure that safety is a top priority.
Is there any further debate or discussion? Assembly member, you're recognized.
Good afternoon, Mr. Speaker and members. I rise in opposition of SB 105. I rise in opposition because the state is intervening between families and the state is telling the families what to do. It is a parent's responsibility to know what's best for their children. It should not be the state to decide that. With that, I would like to conclude. Members, thank you for your time. I respectfully ask for a no vote. Thank you.
Is there any further debate or discussion? Assembly member, you are recognized.
Good afternoon, members and Mr. Speaker. I am in support of SB 105. It has been proven through various occasions that helmet saves people's lives. Wearing a helmet lies on the same grounds as wearing a car seatbelt. A helmet mandate for skiing and snowboarding will lower the risk of traumatic brain injuries in children and in youth. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention of Children and Youth, are one of the highest risk populations of TBI, traumatic brain injuries. There are many reasons why children under 18 should be forced to wear helmets while skiing and snowboarding, but ultimately the goal is to save lives and keep people safe. In order for this to take action, we must make wearing a helmet while snowboarding or skiing a legal law throughout California. For these reasons, I respectfully ask for your aye vote. Thank you.
Is there any further debate or discussion? Assembly member, you are recognized.
Good afternoon, Mr. Speaker and members. I also rise in opposition to this bill. Because of the lack of uniformity amongst business, not every ski resort will distribute familiar information to the public. In addition, there are budget concerns on fiscal impacts on small businesses. Members, thank you for your time. I respectfully ask for a no vote. Thank you.
Is there any further debate or discussion? Minority Leader, you are recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I rise in opposition to SB 105. Here we go again. Another bill where the legislator thinks that it knows more than its residents and what is appropriate for their children. When will this legislature stop passing bills that intervenes on the lives of Californians? I respectfully request a no vote.
Is there any further debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing none, Mr. Raul Garcia, you may close.
Thank you for your time, and I respectfully ask for your yes vote.
All debate having ceased, the clerk will open up the roll. All in favor, pass the green. All opposed, pass the pink. All in favor, pass the green. All opposed, pass the pink. All in favor, pass the green. All opposed, pass the pink. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. Assembly members, as we prepare the vote, be prepared for the next item. All members who desire to vote, vote. All members who desire to vote, vote. Clerk has closed the roll and tallied the vote. Ayes 76, noes 31. The measure passes. Item number AB 130. Mr. Braulio Fonseca, are you prepared to take up this item?
Yes.
Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 130, an act relating to California DREAM Act. Assembly Bill 9, an act relating to bullying in schools.
Ms. Jessica Ortega, are you prepared to take up this item?
Yes.
Ms. Jessica Ortega, you may open up on the measure.
Mr. Speaker and members, under AB 9, every school district would create a strong and clear anti-harassment policy and program if they don't already have one. Districts would have a system in place to ensure all reports to be taken seriously and in a timely manner, and that both the parents and the students understand that the complaint process. To identify their school's anti-bullying policies and to know exactly who to go with if they need any support. So we all know about Seth's law, and he committed suicide at 13 years old of age because of a problem of bullying. Also recently, two teen girls, 13 years old as well, committed suicide. They did a pact because they were a little bit overweight. So we see this as an opportunity to stop people and teens from doing all of this, and we would like you to pass AB 9.
Is there any further debate or discussion? Assembly member, you are recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I rise in opposition to this bill. According to the National Center for Education, the number of school-associated suicides among children 5 to 18 has decreased from 1,600 in 1992 to 1,200 in 2008. Now, the remaining suicides are a result of the lack of enforcement of laws in place by school administration. Many, if not all of these bills, if not all the laws this bill proposes, are already implemented, whereas California's public schools have the affirmative obligation to combat racism, sexism, and bias to provide equal educational opportunity. The proposition to train faculty in regards to bullying is addressed in the Hate Violence Prevention Act, where it is required that the State Department of Education provide training to personnel in the identification and resolution of hate violence on campus. Further, the Safe Place to Learn Act requires the publication of anti-discrimination and anti-harassment policies around campus. just as this new bill is proposing. It's apparent that the problem lies not in the number of laws, but rather the lack of enforcement. What compels us to believe that more laws would ensure that the adults on campus would enforce them? Before we can pass this bill, I would like to be assured that we can enforce these new laws. After all, it will cost our state millions. And can we afford to supplement laws which need not be supplemented? I respectfully ask for your no vote on AB 9.
Is there any further debate or discussion? Assembly member, you are recognized.
Mr. Speakers and members, I stand in support of AB 9 because it is evident that existing policies are not doing enough for our youth. With current policies, suicide has become an epidemic, and these policies fail to encourage victims to step forward. This bill would change this because it would encourage further investigation that will protect victims, not bullies. Additionally, it is severely unfortunate that countless suicides could have been prevented if teachers knew how to recognize the warning signs. Thankfully, this bill would change this because it would encourage teachers to go through a training to help them target these unfortunate signs. Most importantly, this bill will offer counseling to the bullies, in which research suggests that bullying can be stopped with counseling rather than severe discipline. Ultimately, any measure that makes schools a safer place should and must be implemented. For this reason, I urge your aye vote.
Is there any further debate or discussion? Assembly member, you are recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I rise in opposition to this bill. The reason being is that this bill is really not necessary because it only goes back to the laws we already have, and it will only add to the over $2 billion of unpaid mandate claims owed to the school districts by the state. This is due to all the requirements that are included in the bill. So it all can end up being an incredible loss of money and time. This is because the bill will be a gamble that is really not necessary at this moment. There are laws that are already applied to many of these things mentioned in this bill. So what we really need to do is make sure that teachers enforce the existing laws to make them more effective. Also, if we use money to carry these programs out, we will have to take money from somewhere else, which might lead to more loss of school jobs. So for these reasons, I respectfully ask for your no vote.
Is there any further debate or discussion? Minority Leader, you are recognized.
I oppose AB 9. Absolutely no one should have to be bullied while in school. However, we must ask ourselves during this distressed economic times, as we cut the funding for Prop 98 education funding, if now is the best time to be creating a new costly mechanism for dealing with bullying. We should ensure that schools are following current legislation to ensure that schools are a safe environment. The bill is simply not needed. I respectfully request a no vote.
Is there any further debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing none, Ms. Jessica Ortega, you may close.
In the plan to implement this bill, we thank you on behalf of the bill AB 9, and I respectively ask for your aye vote.
All debate having ceased, the clerk will open the roll. All in favor, pass the green. All opposed, pass the pink. All in favor, pass the green. All opposed, pass the pink. All in favor, pass the green slip. All opposed, pass the pink slip. All members vote who desire to vote. 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 Clerk has closed the roll and tallied the vote. Ayes 62, noes 40. The measure passes. Item AB 130. Mr. Braulio Fonseca, are you prepared to take up this item?
Yes.
Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 130, an act relating to California DREAM Act.
Mr. Braulio Fonseca, you may open.
Mr. Speaker and members, I am proud to present AB 130, which would allow undocumented students to receive non-state funds to pursue higher education in colleges and universities. This bill also proposes that undocumented students should be exempt from paying non-resident tuition in the University of California, California State University, and California Community College system. Through this bill, we hope to advance the interests of education in the undocumented students by providing the opportunities to receive scholarships derived from non-state funds. By providing avenues of opportunity, many students will now be able to pursue the American dream. We will empower our communities with a new generation of leadership and thus empower the nation as a whole. We will also be investing in our economy to strengthen it and to allow a new pathway to continue economic success in the future. I hope you take this bill into consideration and bless California with a promising future. This bill has received bipartisan support, and only if an amendment is to be done to the bill. Thank you, and I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Is there any further debate or discussion? Assembly member, you are recognized.
I ask with point of order. Mr. Speaker and members, I voted for the bill AB 130 and the condition that it will be amended. The amendment that I was presented with ensures that no citizen is passed over in favor of an undocumented student. Now I ask the author if he accepts the amendment.
Aye.
Your point of order is not well taken.
Question of the author.
Then you go to the author.
Author, Assembly Member Fonseca, can you answer the question?
Yes.
Now I ask the author if he accepts the amendment.
Yes, I accept the amendment.
Is there any further debate or discussion? Assembly member, you are recognized.
Mr. Speaker and members, I rise in opposition of this bill. Because of their legal status, illegal immigrants can't get a job in this country. Consequently, they will have to return to their mother country and obtain a job there. Why support our competitors? Why feed our competitors? Their only alternative would be to return to their low-paying job that they were trying to avoid. Our country would not benefit from this bill. Another reason why we oppose this bill, is the fact that we will be promoting, encouraging, and condoning crime and illegal immigration if such bill is passed. We will also be ignoring our own citizens and depriving them from receiving the financial assistance necessary to attend a university. We can't place the needs of illegal immigrants before the needs of our own citizens. I respectfully ask for your no vote.
Is there any further debate or discussion? Author, you are recognized.
The point by the Republicans is very broad in a sense. AB 130 is giving. Wait. Sorry, I blanked out. Can you repeat your statement, please, Republican?
All of it?
The beginning.
Assembly member, can you repeat the question?
Well, because of their legal status, illegal immigrants can't get a job in this country. Consequently, they will have to return to their mother country and obtain a job there.
I think that the issue of immigration is not it's not under our jurisdiction. Education is under the state power, and immigration is under federal power. We have no power over that. Thank you.
Is there any further debate or discussion? Assembly member, you are recognized.
But we do have the power over crime, and illegal immigration is a crime.
Is there any further debate or discussion? Author, you are recognized.
I repeat, it's federal power. We have no jurisdiction over that. And many of the undocumented students come to this country not by their own will, but by the will of their parents. They have no choice in the matter. And so should they be charged as criminals as well?
Assembly member, you are recognized.
A basic human right is education. Depriving someone that didn't have a choice to come to this country and get an education. Education is necessary to compete in our world, to have a job, to have a living. Depriving them of education, higher education, will deprive them of their livelihood, will deprive them of life. And this is not a matter just of states, just of an individual. It's how do I explain this? How do I say this? But just that deprivation is inhumane. We have the power. So we have the power to change people's lives by giving them a life, by giving them a future, by depriving them of a dream. We make their nightmares into realities, and that's inhumane.
Is there any further debate or discussion? Author, you are not recognized. Author, you are not recognized.
Ask for any further debate or discussion.
Minority Leader, you are recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I rise in opposition to this bill. I thank you for accepting the amendments to this bill that ensures us that no U.S. citizen is pushed out of a scholarship. But with $2 billion in cuts to higher education, with students being turned away, this bill has cost pressures we cannot afford. I ask you for your no vote.
Is there any further debate or discussion? Any assembly member interested into getting in this debate, please stand and make your statement. Assembly member, you are recognized.
I would like to make a statement that this costs no money because the money, AB 130, the money is found through private institutions. This will cost the state nothing. Furthermore, the bill also requires people, an undocumented student, to find the first path to citizenship when available. So they will become citizens as soon as they can and give back to the community just as quickly. If we've already invested so much money putting them through K through 12, we could afford putting them through a little more so that we could get more back on our investment than we could have.
Is there any further debate or discussion? Assembly member, you are recognized.
In response to the Democratic Party, actually it does cost money because it costs money to make the forms for the applications, and that comes from the state.
Is there any further debate or discussion? Assembly member, you are recognized.
In response to this being a lot of money, I'm a U.S. citizen. My parents are not. They are not criminals. They are not criminals, okay? They work hard, very hard, to put me through school, okay? So they contribute so much to this society that, in a way, we help for scholarships and college funds for them to be available. So, yeah.
Any further debate or discussion? Assembly member, you are recognized.
In response to the cost, well, can we do it like applications? They can be made online to save trees and save money on printing paper and ink. So the cost of making the forms won't be that much.
Any further debate or discussion? Assembly member, you are recognized.
I think what is important and must be clearly stated is that these forms is just a small price for what America, for what this state will be getting out of if issuing these forms for these students. These students would be contributing to the state. By not issuing these forms, we as a state would be going backwards. So I say issuing these forms are a small price. And so I state my support for this bill to be passed.
Is there any further debate or discussion? Assembly member, you are recognized.
Many people are worried about the economics. Let me tell you something. Most of these students are students that want to stay in this country because this is where they have been raised. By not allowing them to get further education, what we're doing is we're raising a community of smart people that cannot provide anything for us. These are people that are going to stay here, that are going to have kids, and because they can't get a job with a higher education that they need, they're going to end up on welfare using our tax money, and instead of contributing to the country that they now love and call home, they're going to be a burden. So do we want to create a burden for ourselves, or do we want to give a chance to students that have no guilt in this? Thank you.
Is there any further debate or discussion? Assembly member, you are recognized.
Simply said, education should be a right, regardless of immigration status. Very little is being invested in such prominent students that not only will contribute their research, but their intellectual capabilities to our country and most basically, California. The fruits that we will bear through our small investment will be much more than what we are putting in.
This is a close of debate and discussion. Author, you may make your closing statement.
Thank you. The DREAM Act is what it is called. It is a dream for many. Please pass this bill because we want to ensure a brighter future for not only the students without any documents, but we also want to ensure the future for us as a whole. Thank you.
All debate having ceased, the clerk will open the roll. All in favor, pass the green slips. All opposed, pass the pink slips. All in favor, pass the green slips. All opposed, pass the pink slips. All in favor, pass the green slips. All opposed, pass the pink slips. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. Assembly members, as we tally the vote, please prepare for item SB9. The clerk has closed the roll and tallied the vote. Ayes 106, noes 7. The measure passes. Item number SB9. Ms. Brenda Sixto, are you prepared to take up this item?
Yes, and my name is Brandon.
Excuse me, Brandon Sixto.
Good afternoon, Chair and members. I am proud to present SB 9. Senate Bill 9...
Assembly member, please sit down. Clerk will read.
Senate Bill 9, an act relating to life without parole and minors.
Mr. Brandon Sixto, you may open on the statements.
Good afternoon, Chair and members. I am proud to present SB 9. Senate Bill 9 recognizes that all young people, even those serving life without parole sentences, have the capacity to change for the better and should have access to the rehabilitative tools to do so. SB 9 says that youth of ages 16 and 17 who were at the time that they were tried for murder have the ability to petition to be retried after 15 years and have the possibility to receive parole. It is often said that the idealism that teenagers have leads them to be strong advocates for things that they care about, but can also be their greatest downfall. It is said that widespread agreement among child development researchers that young people who commit crimes are more likely to reform their behavior than adults. But how can they, if currently there is no real chance for rehabilitation for youth with life without parole sentences, since they are often seen as burdens and are denied the rehabilitative programs that the state already has in place for them? We treat children differently in our society for a reason, and this is why they should receive a second chance and opportunity to redeem themselves and reintegrate themselves as successful members in the community. For these reasons, I respectfully ask for your aye vote on this important measure.
Assembly members, this is the last order of business. Please be prepared to have debate and further discussion. Is there any more debate and further discussion? Assembly member, you are recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I want to arise in opposition of this bill. We must trust our judicial system. The criminals have already been judged by their peers and deemed guilty enough to serve their sentence. Life sentences are rarely given out, and with careful considerations from the courts. So, if a jury truly believes that the accused deserves this sentence, then they should serve their time fully. Since 1978, only 20 juveniles were sentenced to life out of the LA County. The system of checks and balances of the judicial system make it difficult to give a life sentence to a juvenile. All in all, those under 18 were mature enough to commit a mature and heinous crime, and therefore are and should be obligated to serve their corresponding sentence. For these reasons, I respectfully ask you to vote no.
Is there any further debate or discussion? Assembly member, you are recognized.
Mr. Speaker and members, I rise in support of SB 9. This bill provides youth sentenced to life without parole the opportunity for review and resentencing after serving a minimum of 25 years in prison. The bill requires inmates to prove themselves worthy of renewed liberation. This is accomplished through specific criteria and an intense three-part review process that by no means guarantees parole. The possibility of parole is dependent upon the inmate's merit. Without this act, children sentenced to life in prison have limited access to programs and reform services in prison and have no initiative to work towards better self-improvement. If this bill is passed, it will give rehabilitated and reformed inmates the opportunity to reintegrate into society and contribute to that society rather than be a burden to society. For these reasons, I respectfully urge you to support SB 9.
Is there any further debate or discussion? Assembly member, you are recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I rise in opposition of this bill. What I think the author is forgetting is that the type of crime here is very extreme in nature, to earn life without parole. These are murders in which the victim was killed in a very brutal manner. It is the worst of crimes. I'd like to share an example of a life without parole murder committed by minor, or well, should I say pair of minors. On June 2008, William Lear, a 50-year-old disabled man who used a cane, was approached by Frank Abella and James Washington, was struck and was killed and kicked in the head several times. His wallet was stolen, his cell phone was stolen, some medication was stolen, and then while he was in the ground, he was shot in the head some 20 times close range with a BB gun, 13 times in the torso, and 7 times in the face. This crime is very vicious in nature and very cruel and without a doubt torture. And keep in mind that the people here who committed this crime one of them was 17 years and 11 months, and the other one was just 24 days away from being 18. At their age, these criminals have not changed at all and will never change. Parole is not an option for them originally and should never be an option for them for their cruel crimes. All this would do is re-victimize the families involved and the friends of the victim. They have already received closure and justice for the crime that was committed, and putting the family through this kind of torture all over again is simply unnecessary. And it's also inhumane. That stress can actually induce illness in some. If we can't lock up these demons, who can? How will justice be served? For that reason, I respectfully ask for a no vote.
Is there any further debate or discussion? Assembly member, you are recognized.
There is a judicial term, a process known as habeas corpus. Every prisoner or every defendant convicted of a crime has a right to issue a process of habeas corpus to petition to the Court of Appeals to hear his or her case again. That decision is to hear the case again is up to the courts. That doesn't mean that the convicted criminal or defendant is going to be released or his conviction will be overturned. Everyone has a right to have their case reheard. And you cannot deny a right because there are many times in the system where you have injustices. Everyone has a right to be reheard. Thank you.
Is there any further debate or discussion? Minority Leader, you are recognized.
I rise in opposition to SB 9. There are some crimes committed by minors that are so offensive that the appropriate punishment is life without the possibility of parole. Let us not forget that juveniles that are tried by a jury. Not all of them received life without parole. The jury felt that the juvenile deserved life without parole due to the brutal, malicious crimes, just like the 30-something headshots with a BB gun. How many of you could stare into the face of a family that has lost a child or family member due to a crime committed by a 16 or 17-year-old and tell them that the murderer of the crime deserves freedom, a freedom that their lost family member will never know because the criminal ended their loved one's life all too soon? Maturity level is an argument that many of you may be thinking. But what about a 25-year-old with a 6th grade reading level? Who also struggles with immaturity issues just like our 16, 17-year-old counterparts? So please, I ask for your no vote. Thank you.
Is there any further debate or discussion? Majority Leader, you are recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I rise in support of SB 9. It is unfair to sentence a minor to life without the possibility of parole. These young individuals have not fully understood the consequences for their actions. We would rather rehabilitate them and give them the possibility to contribute fully to society. I ask for your I vote. Thank you.
Is there any further debate or discussion? Assembly member in the far back, you are recognized.
I would like to let it be known that the ones we wish to get released with and be on parole are the 45% of adolescents that were given life in prison without parole, but their crimes they were accomplices, and they either had little part or had no idea that a murder was about to be committed or a felony. And that only after 25 years will they finally be able to get paroled. Thank you.
All debates and further discussions will close. Assembly member, you are recognized. This is the last discussion/debate.
I would just like to let it be known that the jury spends a long time trying to figure out whether or not to convict the accused. And as to the fact that the minors were accomplices, since the jury, takes all that time to figure it out, they themselves, who are the peers of the accused, have found that the person has been involved enough with the murder and the crime to deserve a life sentence. Thank you.
Correction, Assembly members, we have gone ahead of time. Is there any more further debate and discussion? Assembly member in the back, you are recognized.
Let me reiterate this again. A lot of you opposing this bill are saying that it's going to cause so much harm and so much emotional hardship. But remember, like I said about the whole habeas corpus and being able to petition the court to hear the case again in a court of appeals. I don't know if any of you know this, but a court of appeals is a closed court. There is no jury. It is in front of 3 justices. And so you have to trust the judicial system works. Thank you.
Is there any further debate or discussion? Assembly member, you are recognized.
You guys also have to remember that if it was your family member that someone killed, if it was someone that you knew, someone close to you, would you want the person getting out with parole? Would you want the person to have a chance for freedom? I don't think so. You know, there's always going to be a different side. So that's all.
Is there any further debate or discussion? Assembly member, you are recognized.
A member in favor of this bill says that we should trust the judicial system. If we trust the judicial system, then there should be no need for an appeal. In addition to that, I'd like to make a statement that if somebody commits a crime against another person, they're committing a crime against their society and thus the laws of the land, and thus they deserve whatever punishment they are given. And therefore that punishment should be respected because it has been issued out for a reason and for that reason only.
Is there any further debate or discussion? Assembly member, you are recognized in the far back.
We talk about how we lose family members and seeing in different perspectives. We will never agree with each other. But how is somebody that's dead you cannot bring back? But how is ruining somebody else's life going to make justice towards that? Thank you.
Is there any further debate or discussion? Assembly member, you are recognized.
Okay, let me clarify what this act is. This act does not mean that when it passes, the criminal is going to be set free and no questions asked. This act gives them the opportunity to reform, to rehabilitate, and after they have passed through review questions, they get reviewed. Then somebody decides if they're worthy of that. But it does not mean that they will be released on the grounds, just let them go free. If they do pass those reviews, they will be on parole, so they will be managed and they will be watched. Thank you.
Seeing and hearing, no more debate. Mr. Brandon Sixto, you may close.
Mr. Speaker and members, one of the main arguments of the opposing side is that of the harm and pain that it will cause to the victims' families. But let it be known that we do in fact have victims' families who will openly tell you and testify that they support this bill because they believe in the human ability to forgive. Another thing is we feel that these youth who committed crimes before the prefrontal cortex in their brain, which develops until their 20s, which is in charge of helping them make or figure out the consequences to their actions, does not develop until later. The opposing side suggests that these should be punished and expire in jail, which would cost many, which would just prolong the burden on the California state penitentiary system. Should we go back to Hammurabi's medieval code of an eye for an eye and destroy and agonize the inmate's family in an attempt to justify the effect of an error in judgment that was made in a moment of confusion and adolescent insecurity? I think not. For these reasons, I would urge you to vote aye for SB 9. Thank you.
All debate having ceased, the clerk will open the roll. All in favor, pass the green slip. All opposed, pass the pink slip. All in favor, pass the green slip. All opposed, pass the pink slip. All members vote who desire to vote. 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 The clerk has closed the roll and tallied the vote. Ayes 70, noes 45. The measure passed. All assembly members, please keep order. No form of demonstration, please. Members, the schedule for the floor session is as follows. July 2012, 3 p.m. Is there any further business to come before the House? Seeing and hearing none, a motion to adjourn is in order. Mr. Isaac moves and Mr. Magallanes seconds that this House stands adjourned until July 28, 2011. All those in favor signify by the usual sign of aye. Those opposed? The ayes have it. Quorum call is lifted.
Business is done for the day.
2011 CLYLP class. Please give a round of applause to all the volunteers, and may the volunteers please come to the front. All volunteers, please come to the front. Let's thank all the volunteers at the desk. Please give them a round of applause.
Well, who are we? Let's give all yourselves a round of applause. Why don't we give a big standing round of applause here to your Speaker of the CLYLP Assembly, Christian Garcia. He's perfecting his parade wave. So, thank you all again for volunteering here. One of the biggest things I'd like to point out that this entire day could not be put on without all of the support and staff support of our volunteers here at the state capitol. Folks that go through this on a daily basis. We've got to say that I think you guys were much more civil, I think, than most opportunities in the state capitol. So with that, I want to recognize them for their support and give them another round of applause, all of us. These are just some that are here. Yeah. And I'd be remiss if we didn't take this opportunity to present future opportunities for you. I know Erica Romero from the Hispanic Association of Colleges and Universities is always interested in giving out money for students to go to college, and she can give a quick description of what is entailed with that.
My name is Erica Romero. I'm with the Hispanic Association of Colleges and Universities. We are among the 25 largest Latino nonprofits in the nation. And for those of you in the Republican caucus who met me earlier, you heard this. But we offer scholarships for students to attend college. We have 110 member institutions in California. If you've seen tuition go up, you know you'll need our money. So please apply for our scholarships. I will be at your event tomorrow, so come by and get my business card. And we also offer the largest Latino internship program in the nation, and all of our internships are paid. 70% of them are in DC, but we pay for you to fly to and from wherever the internship is. I would root for San Juan, Puerto Rico, but that's just me. And think about it this way, we pay you to get away from your parents, so how much better can it get?
Again, this is a great opportunity to thank all of our members of the state capitol, of the California Latino Capital Association. And as we conclude for the day, we'd like everybody to stand up quickly. And before we end, give one last symbol of what democracy is about, and that's the collective voice that comes about underneath the dome. And what better way with the one last clap? Who are we? Who are we? Here's the last time. Who are we? All right, thank you very much for being out here today. Laura Parra in the back chamber will escort you guys out to the north steps where dinner will be served for you guys. If you guys can leave orderly. Again, thank all our volunteers. Please tuck in your chairs. Please clean your desks so that they're left in the order you sat down in.